Y'all, let us know if you're watching. We welcome you to our new episode 8 of our series, Where Are You Shopping in Your Relationships? The foundation of forever, why friends first is the way forward. So I'm Mariquita Solis, an uncaged heart coach, the uncaged heart coach, and I'm here with my co-founder, behavioral strategist Linda Tilson. Together, we are the founders of The Last First Date. So today, we are going to be breaking down a big question. What if the strongest romantic relationships aren't based on fleeting chemistry, but on becoming close friends with someone whose character you deeply admire? So, in this live conversation, we're going to be looking at why friends first is the ultimate path forward in modern dating. Somehow we've lost that. So, today we're going to be diving into 5 compelling reasons why prioritizing friendship completely changes how you evaluate compatibility. It's going to be shifting you away from the stressful dating audition so you can build a genuine, lasting partnership that stands the test of time. So let's get started. We're really excited about this episode. Hi, Linda. Thanks for joining.
Yes, we are very excited about this episode. We were actually in conversation for about 2 hours on this topic. So, yes, you're going to get a small, bite-sized portion of what we're going to talk about today because there's a lot to it.
All right. So let's get going. Linda, so what's on your mind? What's the first topic you'd like to talk about?
So, the first topic that I think we need to address is the elephant in the room. It's about what happens when you've got all of this chemistry, right? And you are getting ready and forming an emotional attachment to a person. Taking a step back and slowing things down a little bit and looking about the consistency of how the person shows up when you're with them. That will tell you a lot about your compatibility because once chemistry takes over, the attachment happens, then we tend to not notice all of the different things that we should pay attention to we have every opportunity, but it's how we view the relationship going into it before it's even been defined into a relationship.
Right. And it's normal for us to be overwhelmed with emotions and sometimes to be blinded about what's really in front of us. So that's why we're having these conversations about intentionality, right? And so why taking it slowly is the key and knowing what we want.
And a lot of people wondering, well, how can you say that you should be friends first? And so the traditional reason why you would say that is because when all the external things fall away, you're left with a basis of emotional connection, right? And so all the other things become less primary. However, that isn't the reason why we're advocating for friendship first. The reason why we're doing that, because if you think about when you're getting to know someone for the very first time, you are not going down the path of leading with biology to get to the other end. You are actually like, hey, how do I feel when I'm with this person? Can I be myself? Am I comfortable? And, there's always that thing that we tell people, what would you tell your best friend if they came to you about something? Well, your partner, your romantic partner should be that person too. But we focus too much on the attraction and the emotional attachment long before we start looking at what we personally value, what we actually bring to the relationship, what we want from the relationship. And, a lot of times, and this brings us to, the second area, you can't not touch upon it, but it's about reducing the projection that happens. When you're looking into that romantic fantasy, you're not really looking about what it's like in real life every day on that random Tuesday evening. You're not looking into it that way. But with a friendship, every day is a random Tuesday afternoon, right?
Yeah, you're right. And there's so much expectation, projection and expectation. Is there chemistry? It's like we have to feel chemistry, right? I remember that, and that was one of the first things people ask instead of tell me about your experience. What was it experience like with this person. Instead of being so worried about whether your hormones are flooded with, dopamine, that is again why we have to take it slow, because the hormones are speaking louder than really the wisdom to look at this person without projecting anything, without looking through the rose glass mirrors, which is, I understand what it's like. I've looked that way many times and I've gotten myself into terrible messes because I did not use this logical part of my brain to. I just said, shut up. I mean, I'm like, I'm sweating. I'm so excited. He's so good looking, or this or that. And who cares if he doesn't want to talk about spirituality? That's a true experience, right? Who cares? Well, it matters. I mean, for me, it matters. So, yes.
Yeah, you're what you just said is you're not looking into the values that you want to communicate and embody. Instead, you're, discounting things. And, if you flip it around again in a friendship, you're looking for compatibility and what do you like to do together? Am I safe with this person to share my deepest, darkest secrets? What can we do to help each other grow in life? All of these things that we're doing, but they're not the forefront when we go at it in the way that we described. And and doesn't mean that you forget about chemistry and attraction. You totally keep that in the forefront. But a lot of times we want to shape them and mold them into who we want them to be, what role we want like them to play. And with our friendships, I don't know that we necessarily do that. We tend to do more diversification. We have that friend that we love to do adventures with. We have that one friend that we can have a heart to heart about anything. We have those friends that we just have a real, I guess, philosophical conversation. There's different types of friends that we do things with. And by diversifying and not putting all of your relational energy into this one path of where I must get to this end result, which is I want to get into a committed relationship. I want to get married. I want to have the house, the kids. I want to be able to travel the world and all these other things. There's time to do that, but it's really about that discernment and thinking about not so much who do I need to bring forward so that they'll like me, that they will want to stay with me. And oh my gosh, this person is my soulmate. They're that perfect person. And I can imagine doing this with them in 5 years. Slow it down a little bit. Um, Definitely slowing it down and getting to discover, taking the time to really talk about things, because otherwise, if you're not going into dialogue and you are not like doing normal everyday things with the person, you're going to get a shock to reality when life goes back to normal. You get up in the morning, you go to work, you come home from work, you have your dinner, and and then I'm simplifying it, but that's how do we interact with each other when we're not dressed to the tens, when we're not doing something exciting like a vacation out in the Caribbean. I mean, who's that person and who are you with? And just taking the time to do that. And one of the other things that we were talking about is the whole stopping the whole idea of wanting to audition for the part that you think that you want to play the role in. We all do it. We meet somebody and we think about what that person's going to mean to us and how we're going to show up, and instead, really taking away from even wanting to be chosen. A lot of us want to be chosen. You love it when somebody will say, "Hey, I'd like to go out with you and have coffee on Tuesday afternoon." And when that doesn't happen, then it gets disappointing, right? And so the same thing happens in our relationships that we're building for that romantic relationship. If we're always thinking that we have to be on and that we have to look a certain way and be a certain way, and it's not even reality, when reality hits, it changes everything. It's more about doing the small things together, like going grocery shopping, for example. going out and doing some yard work. There's other things that we could definitely be doing. And it takes that pressure off of having to move things forward at this pace, because we tell ourselves we only have so many years before we're going to be out of our prime. Am I not right?
You're totally right. And when you're interacting with friends, there is no pressure. You're not afraid to say, "Hey, no, really don't like going bowling," for example. Now, if I was on a date and my date, I wanted to impress him, and he said, "Do you like to bowl?" I might say, "Oh, I love it," which would be a lie, right? But I'm not going to say that to a friend. And being honest is the foundation of a relationship that will last. So when we are treating the possible romantic partner with honesty, we are not going to be disappointed later. If I really hated bowling and I said, "Yeah, I love it," then I'm going to be stuck pretending my whole life until I say, "Oh, well, I just said that because I wanted to get a second date." Right. And that's not the way to build a loving relationship. No. And that's why we're going back to friendship first. Forget, like, we're way down the road to give me the number, like you were saying earlier. If the number and making sure there's a second date is the only priority, then we're just shutting down to anything else, right? We're really not listening to that person. We might be wanting to go down our checklist, like, I want to just move forward. All right, Linda, how much money do you make a year? Right. Right. Do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? All right. No, check, 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 instead of really engaging with the person.
And that's just it. It's engaging with the person real time in that moment. Because when we're looking too far ahead, you're right. We're going to miss things, cues that we should be paying attention to, both the good and the negative. And we're also going to do something else. We're living so far into the future that may or may not happen. And when you operate so far into the future, you really don't enjoy being in that moment and doing those things and really taking the time. And so, what we're saying is, don't rush getting to the second date. Don't rush wanting to do things because you think that you're at an age, for example, that you're going to reach an expiration. No one's going to date me anymore because I'm 53. Really, these are the conversations that Mariquita and I have with individuals that we coach all the time. They're worried about the expiration date. They're worried about not moving things quick enough and somebody else rushing into the person they want to date. Um, Anxiety. There's a lot of anxiety around meeting people, and how do you take the conversation, and how do you talk about the tough stuff. And so I advocate for that reframe of pretend that person is your is someone that you want to become friends with, and how do you go about it? When you can put that into play, then everyone actually becomes more relaxed. They're like, oh, I can like relax, I can be myself, I can say what I like and what I don't like. And yeah, because there's even the effect where they know the other person wants something and they're not wanting to do it, but they're like, if I don't do this thing, then I'm not a man because I'm not taking it forward, and it's my role. If I don't do it, the woman's not going to do it, so I got to do it. I get that one too. So there's so many things that can happen with this, and really, you take everything in stride, right? And the one thing that I did want to get out of this conversation, if nothing else, is put your life together in such a way that it's full. Okay. So when you put your life together full, so you diversify the different types of friendships or relationships that you have, you do ordinary things, not always extravagant things. When you're doing that, then you get to see really who a person is. But more importantly, you get to see, how does this feel to me when I'm in this space with this person doing these things? And that's going to tell you a lot. If you feel like you can't speak your truth, or you can't say you don't like something because you fear they're going to leave in search of someone that has that thing that that you don't like to do, well, then let that go. Because, not every person you meet either is going to progress to the second date or even to a final union of, let's say, marriage, right? Um, and so take the stress out of all of this. Have fun with it, just like you do with your friendships. And in a friendship, you're going to have conflict too. I mean, don't think that these relationships, you're not going to have conflicts. You're not going to have differences of opinion. Yeah, it's all about being open and curious to what's going on, accepting the person for who they are in that moment, and being along with them to grow and go the path together.
Exactly. You said so many good things. And when you show up with a full life, then you're not looking like I need you to be entertaining me. I'm here and I'm happy by myself, and I'm just want to have a conversation with you to see maybe if it resonates. My life resonates with your life. Tell me how we might match up here in areas that we like, in morality and values and core beliefs, right? And let me just say one thing that's so important. You cannot fake, you can't fake being someone else when your energy is always speaking, right? And that tense energy when you come into the relationship and you're not really confident about yourself, and like having that full life, but you're like, I've got to meet someone now, like Linda's saying, the pressure's on, I've already been on 5 dates, it's not working, I'm not going to go on 10, I'm not going to go on 15. No, you can't hide your energy from anyone. They're going to feel it, and it's not going to allow people to relax, right? So when you have the attitude of, look, this is one night, I'm going to meet maybe just a person that is going to, I mean, to see how this person is going to communicate with me. It's a person, and without any expectations, another human being, right? It's not going to be, I'm going to meet Prince Charming, right? I'm going to meet a person for an interaction, a healthy interaction, and I'm going to allow it to be business. I'm not going to feel any pressure that we have to go on another date. I'm going to allow for things to unfold naturally.
And I love how you brought up the energy part, because it does precede us when we are with people. And if we feel we have a full life that we're living, we're going to talk about it passionately. And we're not going to be thinking about the next line to say when the person is speaking to us about things. We're just going to be so excited and so immersed in what we're doing that time will not stand still. It's going to move by really quickly. And you talked about, like, oh, I don't want to go on 10 days, 15 days, it's not working. It's also a time when you're going on these dates and when you're meeting people to be discerning. Listen to the cues that the other person has when they show up. Listen to your own body, of how things are, because you can tell when you hit it off with somebody and the energy is flowing. Everyone feels safe and relaxed, and you're not worried about everything. Isn't that a lot more fun, not to be worried about what comes next and just be in the moment about what is. For many, many years, people have always said, be present in the moment, be present in the moment. I'm like, what the hell does that mean, to be present in the moment? I really didn't understand it until I actually had some lived experiences. And so I realized that the time that we look too far back into our past and we keep repeating it and bringing it up and putting that as our narrative, or we're looking so far ahead into our future that we're not really painting the reality of what's in front of us and what's really happening, that's when we lose. And so time doesn't stand still when you're in that present moment. If anything, it's moving by quickly, and you're not thinking, get this, you're not thinking all the time. You can actually show up and be who you are, doing those things, and feel comfortable and good in your skin. Now, some people might say, well, Linda, you're extroverted. Well, I'm a little bit more of an introverted. I'm not gonna I'm gonna feel nervous. I'm gonna need to plan and do all of this internal thinking. I'm not saying to change who you are. I'm just saying to acknowledge, not to create meaning and put labels on a relationship before you've actually observed what is happening in front of you over a period of time.
Right. And remember that we're not desperate. Let's get that straight. We're not desperate for someone to like us, right? We're there exploring the situation. How is this working? Right? I don't have to be begging them to like me. I can leave this date and maybe never want to see that person again, and that's okay. Right? I mean, that's much better than what we've talked about in the past, than going on for years trying to make things work, everyone bending themselves out of shape, all the games and pretending. No. And when you are confident in yourself and you're not begging, then you're going to carry that energy with you again. And nothing is more attractive than someone who has a rich life and is confident and is not making you, the person across from them, the end all game of life.
And you don't have to try to be confident, because I know a lot of people say, I'm not confident, I'm going to have to fake it until I make it. I'm like, no, that's not what you do. You be it until you become it. And you're right. When somebody is very passionate about the life that they're living, it's totally attractive. Actually, I would say that someone's um, emotionally attractive when they have that passion, that energy, that fuel, and that fire in the belly. That to me is more attractive than anything on the outside that you could see. Someone will prove me wrong, of course. That's all right, because I am open to other perspectives and ways of life that I haven't experienced yet. But that's just my take on it. And yeah, when you are trying to get to a goal, the focus is more about getting to the goal than anything else. So really, we're advocating that the goal is to be yourself, get to know the person, and if it works out, they add to your life. If it doesn't work out, you're not devastated and you know swear off dating for the rest of your life. No, no, you're going to meet lots of different people at different times in your life. And, frankly, people, the only time they're really on the same path as you is when you're sitting in that kindergarten class. You have that structure that you go there every day. You learn from your teacher, you go out for recess, you make your friendships, and you don't actually care if their hair's all like messy or that they're, got food on their face from lunch or whatever. You're just there getting to know those those individuals, and through those times that they are part of the shaping of who we become today. And so have fun with your relationships, be the friend that you want. And then you'll find that as you're doing this, it should become, like, I'm not going to say effortless, because all relationships require effort, but I'll say that when you are doing it right, both people are contributing because they choose to and they want to. And how beautiful is that when everyone is choosing to participate, even in the ordinary things of the day.
Yeah, and you will know it too. It will flow. So when we're showing up as forced, I don't even, just in that forced energy, it's not going to allow flow. So for an example, I'll use Linda. Linda and me, when I met Linda, I mean, we both, and we were working on our business, the last first date. It flows. I am attracted to her energy because she's passionate. And that's a prime example of it. Her passion lights me up. And we fuel each other because we're both passionate and there's alignment. I don't have to think, oh, well, I wonder if there's alignment with me and Linda. No, I can feel it. I can sense the energy. And that's what you're looking for. And it's not like, I mean, we're in a platonic relationship, right? So that's where it would start. Now, we're not going to take it any farther, but we want, but for this is the basis of all relationships, what we have. And it's beautiful. And you won't have to, I don't have to think, well, I wonder if Linda and I, if we're in alignment. No, I know we're in alignment because my body tells me we're in alignment.
And what I like best about you, Marikita, is I don't have to drag you through to do anything. If anything, I got to tell you to slow it down and stop. Let me do some. And so we have a great dynamic in our friendship and our business. And we embody all of these things that we talk about in the live streams and in our masterclass, in our coaching. We embody these beliefs. We're not just talking about them from a theoretical standpoint. We embody these beliefs and we will practice with each other until we become it. There's things that we both work on. We were talking about something interesting this morning. Marikita, she loves to go on and just do lives like they're nothing. And just at the pop of the hour, she just gets on, she does them. And I'm like, okay, well, I like to talk about a lot of different things, but I like a little bit of planning in there. So I'm more apt to record something and send it out later. Now, because we get to do this together, we're both giving to the conversation. So I'm comfortable and safe in doing that. And I feel supported. So this is like nothing to me. I don't mind doing this at all one bit. And I told people before, I am a shy extrovert. I get my energy from people, but I'm shy. If you send me out to meet people in a room all by myself, which is one of the things I'm working on, and one of the things we're going to talk about in our classes is how do you go and meet people when you're on the shyer end of things. And so that's just a little teaser there that there's so much more that we have to uncover. And we choose in this series to every week pick something of a hot topic that is on people's minds, that we've witnessed in our coaching, of individuals that just want to grow and they just don't know the how. And so we're bringing in the how we get to these places and spaces that we all want to be.
Right. And I wanted to say that when we're talking about you and me, so I very easy can jump on a live, blah 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 blah, but then and then Linda has to. She likes it more structured, and I say, well, that's my weaker area is structure and order, and so how beautiful that is when we can come together, just like partnerships, right? How we can elevate each other, and I can see how she works on the structure, and I can learn from her, and she can learn from me, hopefully something. So yeah, that's a beautiful dynamic.
It
Yeah,
really is.
yeah, and we're going to be exploring all these dynamics in our event on July 24th. Now, have we covered all the things we want to cover here before I jump to that, Linda?
Yes, we have. We've covered them and then some.
Okay, I just want to make sure, right? That's why I'm glad the structure is here sitting in front of me. All right, y'all, let us know if you're watching. So on July 24th, we're going to be having a community conversation on Zoom. Now, that's going to be at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about the myths that so many of us believe, the myths about men, women, and this is all genders, right? About other people, right? That there are no good men out there. There are no good women. There are no this or that. All men think this, or all these people think that. We're going to cover some of those. We can't cover them all. We've got an hour conversation, and we want to hear what you have to say. What have you learned? Your experiences, right? We want to deal with these hot topics, and then this is going to be a safe place to talk about these subjects in our Zoom call. Linda and I are facilitating it, and everyone. I mean, I know that everyone's going to show up respectful because that's the energy that is going to be in the Zoom is respect and understanding, listening to understand. And this is the energy that we're going to bring to the dating world, the same energy in the Zoom call. We're not going to expect like all of us are going to leave there being best friends forever. No, we're going to go and have a conversation, a genuine conversation from the heart, being vulnerable and showing up and being ready to talk about these issues that need to be discussed so we can clear some of these misconceptions away.
So if that excites you and you're curious to share other perspectives and to receive other perspectives, and a lot of times they're different than the ones that we have, but sometimes when we hear other perspectives and somebody's why they have it, we learn so much. And there's times where someone shared a perspective that going in, I'm like, no, I don't see how they see it that way. No, I'm not going to adopt their perspective. I have adopted different perspectives based on someone else's ability to share it in a way that I could see myself adopting it. And so, the reason why we do this work is so that we can learn and grow together, because none of us are the same. We all have lived experiences that are different than other people. And when we can share the things that work really well and become our go-to practices for building our relationships from the ground up, well, then we want to do that.
Right. So, y'all, please make sure to register because this is a Zoom event. Spaces are limited because we want to make sure that everyone has time to share. We want everyone to also know that your cameras must be on because we want it to be safe, and we want to be able to share vulnerably. We want to see your faces. So, and I know that y'all might be introverts, but look, Linda is saying she's a shy introvert. If Linda can do it, so can y'all. Right? And we just really want to hear. I mean, we'd be honored if you join us. So,
So we plan to see you. And if nothing else, if you can't make it out because the time doesn't work for you, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, because you will get all of our informational updates on what's happening and when and how you can join us.
right. Find us on YouTube because all the past episodes are there. All right, y'all. Well, I guess that's the end of our show. Right, Linda? Is there anything else, Linda, you'd like to say?
Just that we want to see you on the 21st.
Fourth,
24th.
24th.
I don't know what it is about the 21st. I keep
She's
saying
excited. You're excited. You want it
I'm
to
so
come
excited that I'm getting my numbers mixed up. Oh gosh.
before
The
24th. We'll
24th.
see. All right. We'll see you all then. And thanks for watching, everyone.
All right. Take care.
Bye, everybody.